Welcome to Midnight Menu Plus One. I'm Ray Canada. My co-host Margot Moss cannot be with us tonight, so I'll be flying solo for the first time. Well, more or less. We just roped in Phil Degree. Welcome, Phil.
How you doing?
We are coming to you actually today from Phil's Place, from Phil's Grill tonight on Camp Street. New location for us downtown. Cosimo Matassa's former headquarters, historic building.
Yep.
With is it 748 Camp?
748 Camp, about 2 doors down from St. Patrick's Church.
Oh, so some people probably know your place from Marrero and from Fat City.
Yeah,
but
Metairie,
this is another one of your locations.
Yep. We're out in Fat City and Metairie, across from Lakeside Mall, and then in Harahan, and then just opened here.
Awesome. Well, this is great. Phil's Grill's got a reputation for some of the best burgers in town. Also, without a doubt, I think the biggest selection of burgers, right?
Yeah.
What did you tell us when you were on our show? Like you have 3 million combinations or something?
Supposedly. It's like 11 trillion now, because, it's like there's 11 different proteins and 6 buns and 42 sauces, toppings, and cheeses, and it's unlimited toppings. So you take one off, that's another option. It's unlimited. You could eat it the rest of the day, rest of your life, every day for the rest of your life.
So that's it. So our listeners can come to your restaurant. They can eat a different burger every day for the rest of their lives and never run through your entire menu, assuming you don't even add anything till before they die.
Right.
Which you will. All right. Well, that's exciting. Well, friends, I should have mentioned, I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Midnight Menu Plus One is a food lifestyle show on the podcast network. It's NewOrleans.com. It's brought to us tonight by Petite Pet Care. While you're at work or on vacation, you don't have to board your pet. You can stay in the comfort of your own home. For loving care when you're not there, Petite Pet Care. Find them at petitepetcare.com. Now, friends, each week on Midnight Menu Plus One, Margot and I invite a member of New Orleans restaurant and food community to join us, and we invite them to bring along their own guest to Plus One. We never know who the Plus One's going to be. Sometimes it's a friend, a neighbor, a family member, a fellow restaurant colleague. Well, our special guest tonight at Midnight Menu Plus One is Kyle DuPont of Brewstock. And we'll be speaking to him in just a few moments. But before we do that, I just wanted to give a shout-out to a couple exceptional places I ate this week. We often banter a little about that. And, Phil, if you got anything to add, jump in. I went to 4 different places for dinner this week that I enjoyed. One was the new A&J, I think it's called, Asian Bistro on Magazine Street. You know,
haven't had that.
Jackson?
No, haven't eaten there yet.
Really, really good, I thought. Very different. Then we went back to Charlie's Steakhouse. Haven't been there for a long time, since 1932, Uptown Standard. But I never noticed the Elvis wall. I sat over against the Elvis wall. I'm a fan. And they have an Elvis autograph to the restaurant, I assume's not forged, from 1976.
Wow.
That was kind of cool. My steak was great. It was my wife's suggestion. She loved it, too. And then for my birthday, I went to Del Fuegos. We've had them on the show. And that was fantastic. Brought about 20 or 30 people out there, and we had a blast. And then Côte de Sud was the other one I wanted to mention. Went there this week, and they you think of that as a French place, but actually I like the pizza there. I'm big on New York-style pizza, and there's only a few places to get it as good as Côte de Sud in the city. Really, really good. Anyway, that was my food adventures for the week. Anything noteworthy for you?
I tell you what, speaking of pizza, have you ever been to the Oak Oven out in Harahan?
I have not. Is that good?
Really good. Interestingly enough, Cosimo Matassa's grandson is one of the proprietors.
Interesting.
There. Yeah, very good, authentic Italian.
Yeah, he was an Italian guy.
Yeah.
Son of immigrants, I think, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
And then I'm going to give a shout-out to the NOLA Foodsmiths, who are actually doing a pop-up here tonight.
Right. Who's involved with that?
Cameron and Rebecca Lombardo. And, they've got a great menu. I just had some duck and bacon poppers that were just phenomenal.
Tonight you had this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so great little pop-up they do. This is the first time they're doing it here at Phil's Grill.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So where else do they do it? They have a regular gig?
They've been doing it at Milkfish.
Oh, at Milkfish. Yep. Great. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
the only Philippine restaurant within the city limits, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been doing it there, and they come out here and check out this location. And
awesome.
So
is something you think you're going to do more, or is just experiment tonight?
Just experiment, see how it goes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's good. Now, tell us what you're drinking. That looks really interesting.
This is the Toussaint Chop.
So I know
the Toussaint Chop, like
the
Alan Toussaint.
I like Alan Toussaint Chop. Nice.
Chapatulas.
Yeah, perfect.
So this is Maker's Mark,
nice.
A little apple cider, and bacon. Yeah, bacon and bourbon. It doesn't get
any
much
better than
that. I know we're talking about beer tonight, but bacon and bourbon.
Well, maybe there's some bacon beer we can talk about tonight, too. I don't know.
You go. Can you do that?
Oh, yeah.
All
Wait,
right.
we're not supposed to be talking to him yet.
Sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
well, that's
my
our
bad.
No, that'll be our segue. That's
first
good,
run.
because we're just about to introduce him anyway. Enough of this other stuff. I'm dying to talk to our special guest, Kyle. So good to have you, Kyle DuPont of Brewstock.
Yes, thanks. It's great to be here.
All right, well, tell us what Brewstock is. It's kind of pretty unique, I think, in the city, isn't it?
Yeah, we are the basically the only homebrew shop that is in New Orleans. Basically, what we do is we sell all of the equipment, ingredients, everything that you need to make beer and wine at home.
So it's like everything. You go in there and you can get everything from like all the equipment to every bit of it.
Yeah, we have the
you have there, right?
kettles, we've got the bottles, bottle cappers, fermenting equipment, and then all of your grains, barleys, rye, wheat, and then hops and yeast. So that's the basics of beer right there. But then we also do like wine and coffee roasting and cheese making stuff. But
Wait,
most of
cheese?
what-
You sell
make
cheese
cheese?
making stuff too?
Yeah.
That sounds,
My
that sounds like a stretch.
My wife's
yeah.
gonna be interested in this. Hold on, we can make
Yes.
cheese.
It's sort of like a DIY food shop. But most of what we do is beer. We do a ton of
DIY
beer.
food shop, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm a little distracted. It's going to be hard for me to talk with you tonight while I'm staring at that beer. I think you got to pour a few of those first, and then we
Yes.
can relax and unwind a little more. Tell us what you brought with you.
Well, this is a selection of different beers, different styles of beer, stuff that people are making in their own homes. These are commercial examples. So we've got an IPA from 6 Point Brewing. IPA is India Pale Ale, so it's a really hoppy, bitter, aromatic beer. And then we also have the Tank 7 Farmhouse Ale from Boulevard Brewing. This is a really kind of unique beer. The farmhouse brewing tradition goes back to like Belgium and France, where they were making beer with mainly what they were growing, what they had on hand. So a lot of wheats and rye and stuff, but they use these very funky yeasts that just give it this very kind of like almost can get stinky cheese, phenolic. Very
Sounds
different.
appetizing.
Yes, it's a little different. I mean, it's getting into what they call the sour beers, wild fermentation. So
Hey, if you could put bacon in your bourbon, he could put cheese in his beer, I think.
Yeah.
Funky
Well,
cheese. I think
funky
was
cheese.
the-
You can
Yeah.
get some really
That's the
funky
part.
ones, some tart ones. It's just good stuff.
All right.
Then we have a couple barrel-aged beers. So this is bourbon barrel-aged.
Oh, and where was that
beer.
brewery, by the way, that you
This
mentioned?
Boulevard, I think, is in Kansas. Yep, Kansas
Is it
City,
available in New
Missouri.
Orleans?
So this one you can't buy in New Orleans. I brought this in especially
nice.
for us to try today. But there are some great. Actually, there's a guy
Teasing
who's
us, okay.
opening a farmhouse-style brewery on the North Shore in the next couple of years here.
All right.
Yeah, he used to be the head brewer over at Gordon Biersch, so we're looking forward to that.
I interrupted you on the third one, so tell us
Oh,
about
so
that.
we've got a couple different ones. This is a bourbon barrel-aged stout. So it's got the cool cork on top, higher in alcohol. You get the bourbon, you get the oak in it. It's more of a sipper, but they're delicious. It's becoming more and more popular to age beers in rum barrels, bourbon barrels, stuff like that. And the last one we have here is an imperial smoked porter.
Oh, wow.
So they use smoked grain in it, and then they also age that in a bourbon barrel. And that's from the brewery. These you can get in the city. So I think I picked this up.
now where can you get that?
I think I picked that up at Whole Foods, but I mean they've got it like Elio's Wine Cellar. They've got it
Oh, it
at
was
Whole
Elio's
Foods.
this
They got it
morning,
at they've got it all over. And the brewery just does fantastic beer. And they're all in the big bomber style bottle,
Oh,
so
man.
the 22-ounce bottle.
Well, can you open? Let's see, man. Let's do the last one first.
Okay, we'll
There's
start
something
with the
about
big
that
one.
in the Bible, yeah.
It's called the Smoking Wood.
Nice. Now, as you're doing that, Kyle, tell us what you actually do.
So we're
You used to work there. Now you own
Yep.
Brewstock, right? So what do you do?
So I bought the shop actually from a guy named Aaron Hyde. And what we mainly do is, like I said, we sell all the stuff to do it, but most of our role is really just helping people put together recipes. I mean, brewing is not very complicated, but there are so many different ways of going about it. So a lot of what we do is just answering questions, guiding people, and just helping them make great beer. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, my friend was explaining to me the difference between like what is it called, extract and like all grain brewing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so do you have an opinion about that? Explain to our viewers first of all the difference, and also do you specialize in one or the other? You probably
We
accommodate
do both,
right?
Oh yeah, we do a lot of both. The basic difference, to kind of give it just a crash course understanding of making beer. Beer is made when you take malted grain, you extract the sugar out of it,
Is that for me, by the way?
Yeah, go for it.
Don't stop moving your hands while you're talking. Keep it.
Absolutely. I'm gonna multitask here. So you basically take malted grain, which is grain that's been allowed to germinate. It develops an enzyme in it that will convert all the starch in the grain into the sugars. The sugars need to ferment because when the yeast consumes the sugar, it releases alcohol and CO2, which is why beer is carbonated and alcoholic. But then you also boil the beer beforehand before you ferment it with hops, which balance the sweetness with some bitterness and some aromatics and stuff like that. So the basics, you're fermenting grain sugars with hops to make beer, bottling it, carbonating it. So when you do, I'm going to start with extract brewing.
That's more like prepackaged, sort of, right?
It is. Basically, it's where a company has gone and done what they call the mashing process. So in order to get the starch converted into sugar, you go through a whole mashing process where you hold the grain at very specific temperatures. So between like 145 and 160 degrees, usually in the 50s though. You hold it at that temperature, the enzymes become active, they break down the starches, you get all the sugars. So you can do that on your own at home if you're doing all grain brewing where you're taking like 10 or 15 pounds of grain and doing that. But there are companies who have done that for you and extracted the sugar for you and then make it into a syrup or a powder.
So it's like cup of noodles or something, basically. You're adding water and you go, right? You sit, you watch the timer for it and you go, right? It's a lot easier, isn't it?
It's definitely quicker.
Extract?
Yeah, so you take the extract and you do your whole brewing process. It cuts off a couple hours off your whole brew day, and it's something you can do really in about 4 or 5 hours the actual brew day, and then you're fermenting, and that takes a couple weeks before you're bottling. But the benefit of extract is you're not fussing with all the bigger, bulkier equipment.
Right.
You can do it in your kitchen as opposed to a lot of people. If you're doing all grain, you're brewing outside.
Now, all grain's much more involved, right?
Yes.
It's more labor-intensive for the home brewer, isn't it?
It is, because you have to do that whole mashing process on your own and the laundering process and rinsing all those grains of all the sugars. Now, the benefit of doing all grain is that you get a lot more control. So in our shop, we have Pilsner extract, golden extract, an amber, a dark extract, and that's about it. You're kind of limited to the different types of extract you can use. With all grain, we have maybe 20 different just base malts, and then on top of that, another 40 or 50 specialty grains. So you just get a lot more control over the grains that you use, which determines your eventual flavor.
So if you're not very good, it can mean worse beer, but if you know what you're doing, so it's like the difference between driving stick and automatic maybe in a way, right?
You could say that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So now, do you get more all grain or extract people or all grain people as customers?
It's kind of split.
It's a big mix, okay.
It's a big mix. And a lot of people will, I encourage people, and I started, when I brewed my first batch, it was extract. Right. And I encourage people to start there because you can make really great beers using extract. And I still brew extract sometimes just because of, it's just a lot easier, less time, less impact. If I got to just get a beer out there, I can do it real quickly. And you can make fabulous beer with extract. A lot of people that then really enjoy the process and get into it, they make that next step and they go into all grain brewing when they want to do that. But then there are people.
Do you do a lot of personally? You have time to be able to do a lot of your own home brewing?
Oh yeah. We brew at the shop actually quite a bit.
So do you sell some of those or give some of those away, or what do you do with the stuff that you make at the shop?
So the stuff we make at the shop, mostly either I drink or
at work.
Oh yeah,
you and I have that in common. I drink every Sunday. I get to drink at the end of the service. You get to drink at work too. Huh?
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
you get to drink at work too, Phil. Probably right. You got to sample the cocktails.
It's quality control.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, quality control. That's what I do.
Well, and the other thing we do is we do a lot of the festivals. So you have beer festivals. We just did the New Orleans on Tap Beer Festival.
Oh yeah, that was
if
great
it's
festival.
A not-for-profit festival, we can take our beer, donate it to the not-for-profit, and then they can serve it at their festival. I can't really sell my beer. I can't give my beer out to people at the shop because that's a whole different licensing thing. But if it's a non-profit thing, then we can definitely donate to that, and we do that quite a lot, and we'll go out there and pour it.
What's the giant beer festival that's done at the Mardi Gras World?
WYES.
Right here? Yeah. Okay.
We've done that.
Yeah, I was a volunteer server the last couple of years at that, and they had their own home brewing tent. Not really a tent, but a room in that. And some of those were really amazing.
Yeah, we've done that for the past 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
We'll be out there. We've done the Zapp's Beer Fest in Baton Rouge. We've done New Orleans on Tap, and several others. So there's actually one coming up in, I think Homa has the big Bayou Beer Festival coming up here, and I think it's.
You travel out for that?
We might go up there, or we might just be at the shop. So it's on a Saturday, so it's kind of hard to get out.
Well, Kyle, looks like your plus one is here and
Hello.
ready to be introduced. Can you tell us who he is and why you brought him?
Absolutely. So this is Scott Wood. I've known Scott for several years. He is I should say he was a home brewer.
Oh, I still am.
He still home brews.
Yeah.
He makes fabulous beer. I say he was because he is now also, as of very recently, a professional brewer, opening a brewery here
Actually,
in New
as
Orleans.
of today, about
What?
three or 4
Wow.
hours ago.
Wait. Today you opened a brewery in New Orleans? Wow, the economy thanks
Technically,
you.
no,
Yeah, that's
technically,
great.
yes. We got our occupational license at about 3:30.
So you've turned the lights on and you're ready to go soon?
We're allowed to brew as of today.
What's the name of the brewery?
The Courtyard Brewery?
Where is it?
1020 Arado Street. If you know where the World War II Museum is,
Yeah.
we're
Right
about
near here.
We're
Man,
about a
that's right
block
around
and a
the
half
block.
away.
Yeah.
Barrel Proof is our closest neighbor. French Truck Coffee, sorry, even
Yeah,
closer
yeah.
neighbor. So we're right there in that little
Phil's
triangle.
Grill.
Phil's
Phil's-
Grill is a very close neighbor.
Phil's is about
Oh, you mean
4
the
or 5
Phil's
blocks
Grill
away.
at
Yeah.
748 Camp Street
Absolutely.
next to the church?
Yeah,
that Phil's
one.
Grill?
Yeah,
Convenient with delicious burgers? Yeah.
they were delicious. Actually,
Yeah. All right.
I had 2 tonight.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Oh, well, congratulations, because I
Well-
know what you just went through to get to that occupational license in New Orleans.
Yes.
That's
it's
a
kinda
very
hard.
Plus,
that's-
at the
that's sweet.
and then add to that the federal and the state licensing.
Yes.
Also.
Nice.
Yes. So
Yeah,
no,
sweet.
we're super excited to be open. Our first night's gonna be this Thursday.
So what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be having people taste in the brewery? You're going to be supplying restaurants and bars? You're going to be bottling? What are you going to be doing with it?
So the state licensing is a little tricky, but in lieu of getting all into all that, because that could take
Right.
1,000 podcasts. Basically, we're just going to have a tap room, a tasting room of our own. Luckily, we're able to carry other people's beers. We can have guest draft, guest bottles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're excited to showcase other great beers from around the world and local beers. We couldn't brew until literally today, this afternoon. So on our opening, we won't be able to have any of our beers.
Okay.
But we're going to have a great tap list to start, and then in about a month, 3
About
weeks.
a month, you'll be ready for your
3
own
weeks to
beers.
a
Now,
month,
what kind of
we'll-
beers
yeah.
are you going to start out with? What are you introducing?
I brew a lot of West Coast style, really dry, hop forward IPAs,
All
and
right.
then I also brew a lot of really my own take on what classic Belgian style beers, using American hops and traditional methods of.
So you have names for some of these? Have you come up with some clever names?
Couple.
Yeah.
Our mainstay, the beer that made us want to open a brewery is our Baby IPA. It's a session IPA. It's a 4.4% ABV. Very bright, hoppy, drinkable beer.
It's
And
not going to blow your palate out with
Right.
like, bitterness, but it's there because that's the people want
Yeah.
that. And
It's a certain-
People
that-
that drink an IPA, they like
yeah,
that
it's like
IPA,
it's something you could
that-
drink all
how
day.
it
It's
just
very
sits.
approachable.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
So that's a beer that made my wife and I want to delve into this further and go, let's bring this to other people who love beer.
Now, when you say it made your wife, because you had brewed this at home and you
Yeah.
came up with this and you said,
Well,
this is it.
it's a good story. She was pregnant. We met before.
Yeah, and doctors recommend
before
pregnant women
we-
drinking a lot of beer.
before we met, or not before we met, before she was pregnant when we met. She
I'm confused.
Wow, yeah, I'm a little confused too. Are you the father or not?
Yeah.
Let's
Let's not ask that
Okay,
question.
okay. Okay.
so
You hesitated. That scared me. Okay. I was
going
like,
back,
oops.
Lindsay and I met basically happenstance, like you do, but we really connected over good craft beer here and then really abroad. I'm from San Diego originally, and she's from New Orleans, but she spent ample time outside of the city.
Wait. So you were hanging out with her? You said abroad? No.
Well, beer abroad.
Oh, beer that was brought from abroad
Yes.
to. Okay, gotcha.
Kind
Okay.
of what Kyle did tonight.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
noticed he had a-
And she was like a chick who was really into beer, and that excited you, and you said, "This is the one for me."
Yeah. Let's just go with that.
Is that better than the real story? I don't
No,
know.
she was just fantastic, and then on top of that,
I fell in love with my wife over drinking too, so it's okay. Yeah.
It sounds weirder, or it sounds worse than it is. But essentially, we got down.
Nothing wrong with a girl liking beer. That's great.
No, she loves beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both do. So when she got pregnant, we because that's an awesome
After
thing to talk
several
about.
beers.
Well, funny you say that because it was on our wedding. It was on our wedding
Tell
night
us.
after going to Avenue Pub and DBA.
Wait, time out. Slow down. So you got married, and then you went out to DBA and Avenue Pub.
Avenue Pub first. Well, and that was after Little Freddie King played our wedding.
Little Freddie King played your wedding. I'm
Yes.
going to go hear him on Saturday. He's
I
think
think
Friday or Saturday he's
Yeah.
playing at my daughter's school. But that's interesting. Wow. So
Yeah, Wade and him came and played our wedding, and
so
it was
after
awesome.
your wedding, you leave. And you don't go off somewhere else for your honeymoon.
No, we went to a Belgian.
You went to like two
a
of the
Belgian
best
strong
beer
tasting or
places
something.
in the city.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you had so much beer because you'd already had some at the reception
And
that
we made an awesome child.
That you made an awesome child.
Yes. So
A pickled
then you
child.
fast forward and we
This
were
show is getting out of hand.
we had already not yet.
Yeah, and we're only on the first beer.
I might not be.
Kyle, can we open up the second one here? This is, to tell you the truth, I want them in descending order, like from the reverse of what the way you described
Yeah,
it.
Do you
'cause-
remember how you described them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing the Angels
On number 3
share
next.
from Lost Abbey Brewery. So it is an oak barrel aged a stout.
Awesome.
I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. 12.5% alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow! Come on, couldn't they make it stronger? What are they doing?
Actually, the brewery, the one we're drinking now, they make one called Black Tuesday. That's 18%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it still beer legally if it's 18%?
Oh, yeah,
Sounds-
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's more about what it's made with than the percentage it gets
Okay,
to.
let me ask you a weird question then, because I wondered about this before. Is there a limit? Like, you know how, like, for example, I saw a picture of a giant spider on the internet, right? And when you watch the 50s movies of, like,
I
the
saw
30
that,
foot,
too.
yeah, right? And my biology teacher told me in college, actually, like, there's limits to how big they can get because then they start collapsing in on themselves. But this looked pretty damn big, right? How about beer? Like, is there a limit to, like, how much alcohol
No.
content? So you could have a 100 proof beer. You could have a 200 proof beer.
Only if you live in Mississippi.
Well, they actually have higher, they have higher than 100 proof. They have a 61 or something percent beer
What?
right now. I
did
mean,
not know
they're
this.
basically undrinkable, but they're
They're
interesting.
Undrinkable.
They taste like
they're-
crap, but
they're definitely interesting.
Thermonuclear penguins.
Yeah. Well, no, there's even bigger ones.
Oh
now.
yeah.
But
they're crazy stuff.
yeah, I mean, people
It's freeze
people have gone
it's
crazy
freeze
with
distilled
it.
at that
Sam
point.
Adams, well, I'm going to get in trouble if I say Sam Adams started it because really it was people. Anyway, the Sam Adams pushed it with their Utopias,
Okay.
and that was like 25, 30 something percent, and then it just turned into this.
Which the only ones that get
Arms
higher
race.
than that, they actually freeze distill them. So they
What does
take
that
them.
mean?
It means they basically take them down until the water in the beer starts to freeze, and then they take the water out and leave the alcohol behind to boost it.
Right.
So in my mind, Sam Adams is sort of the highest alcohol.
can homebrewers do that too?
You could freeze something and take ice out of it.
If you
Have
have
you
the
ever
right
done that?
equipment
Whether or
and you
not-
buy that equipment
At
from
the
Brewstock.
Brewstock.
Whether or
have
not
the equipment?
distilling is legal, that's something
See, it's-
I'm
well,
not
that's
a
not
lawyer. so-
tech-
I mean, at
Technically,
that
it
point,
is
it sounds more like
distilling.
moonshine than home brew.
Yeah, which we
Okay.
don't talk about it.
Well, they're called icebox
Okay.
traditionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is technically a traditional beer style that's legal.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, then you get into weird state issues that again 90 podcasts about.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I finish about the?
Oh yeah, please.
So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
wife, my wife was pregnant,
You,
and
you did. It was your fault though. You took us
I
on
know.
some
I
strange
know.
rabbit
You
trails.
took us-
I
I
had
did.
to. I had
You
to go
took us down that road.
Yeah.
I brew beer for a living. I mean, we talk about weird stuff all the time.
Okay.
So she wanted to still drink. She loves really hoppy IPAs, and so do I. And I had just come back from a trip back home from San Diego, and there's two things that San Diego's known for. It's like beaches and weather. That's one thing.
Manatees
And-
or something like that. What do they have out
No,
there?
that's in Florida. And
What's,
then
what's that big thing that's on the beach I saw
A
out
seal?
Shamu.
there? I don't know. Never mind. All right. I saw big giant fat things on the beach there. I swear.
They're going down.
Never
that
mind.
road
That
again.
was that.
No,
that wasn't
now
worth
I'm,
it.
now
Keep
I'm
going.
in another
Keep
world.
going.
And really hoppy IPAs.
Okay.
And so I came back and our doctor said, well, you can have a glass of wine. And we were like, well, we don't like wine. So can I just make like a really low alcohol beer that she can taste? And and feel like
I
normal.
like that doctor, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was multiple doctors and midwives and whatever. And so that's what I did. I came back and I brewed Baby IPA, and it was perfect. And as far as we're concerned.
Well, let me ask. Okay, so you have. How'd you learn to be like a brewmaster? Did you just
Well, I'm not a
for your home
brewmaster.
brewing?
That's a technical term.
Okay. Well, whatever you are, you're a guy who owns a brewery. That sounds.
Yeah,
That's all.
Nasty.
No,
Yeah,
that's exactly.
brewmaster.
I'm just a guy who owns a brewery. Like
Okay.
we're not special. We're
So
just.
did you hire somebody then who's actually doing the brewing?
No,
or-
I am.
You're doing the
we
main
spent
guy.
some time doing that. I came from the industry, from the distributor side. My family's been in it a long time.
Oh, okay.
But on the brewing side, I got really passionate. We got really passionate about it. We were brewing in where our name comes from, Courtyard. We were living across the street from Antoine's at the time, and we were brewing in their courtyard with an open flame. Sorry, landlords. And which is totally illegal in the French Quarter. And but we were brewing beer in our little 400 square foot efficiency in the quarter, and eventually we renovated a house out in Lakeview, and then said, we need to do this professionally because there's no other breweries in the city. I mean, there's NOLA,
Right.
and relatively no other breweries.
I mean, it's really starting to explode now, but you're in the
I mean, we're the second one.
Yeah.
There's a lot in the works.
We see a lot
Yeah.
come through the shop. Just people who are working out their recipes. A lot. I mean, every homebrewer's dream is to open their own brewery.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we know at least half a dozen to a dozen people who are at some stage. I would say about half a dozen of them are very serious.
Yeah.
right.
And like really pursuing stuff.
So what's your opinion? How many sort of breweries, even of this size? But I mean, how many you think there's going to be in like say 5 years in New Orleans if they?
I think in 5 years.
Oh, jeez. That's a tough one.
That's
How about 3 years?
I mean, that's going to be. There are probably going to be
6 to 10.
6 to 10 that open.
That's impressive. Yeah.
And then when you start looking at other cities, I mean,
It's minuscule.
yeah, I mean, other
Yeah.
cities that have 12, 20, 30 breweries in us, like San Diego has how many breweries?
Over 100 now.
Oh,
Yeah,
gee.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
it's big in other like out
Yeah.
west.
Austin
Yeah.
has 20 or 30 now. I mean,
Denver.
Denver has
Denver's
and
a
it's
lot.
countable.
it is
Yeah.
Like-
it's about to explode
So-
here.
Oh.
Because I worked for Zia pre-Katrina, and
Right.
they were brewing their own beer at the Clearview location at that point. But it wasn't big in the city, and so you think now 10,
Right.
11 years
Oh yeah.
down the road it's going to be.
Well, that's like
Well,
Acadian
Yeah.
Brewing.
Acadian,
They used to be on Carrollton or something.
yeah,
right? And they actually
Carrollton and Canal, I think.
right,
Yep.
and they made it possible for us to open because of the zoning laws. And it's sad that they didn't make it to today, but the groundwork that they laid,
Right.
I mean, that's why we're here. Like,
Well, we had Jeremy Beer Buddha,
Yeah.
friend of yours, on
Yeah.
our show a few months ago.
Just
And-
moved to Florida.
What?
Yeah.
He
It's-
moved away?
it's temporary. He's
moved.
moved there a couple times.
What? Seriously? No, I mean it's like definitely temporary. Or just
Yeah.
like, what the hell? He seems so New Orleans to me. That's crazy. That freaks me out when people do stuff like that.
It is,
So
out of
sometimes
the
it's like
blue.
the most New Orleans people that do that, and then they'll go buy a house like suburban, like
Yeah.
row house. Oh, gee.
Out of the blue.
Oh,
But you know
you
what?
ruined my night. I was having such a good time. Why'd you have to say that?
He's got to come back. I mean, there's no other place for him to go, right?
Right, yeah.
he's
no,
gonna
no
come
one's
back.
going to accept that guy. No. He's got to be here. Okay, but
Only we can love him.
seriously, but I mean that as a compliment because I feel that way too. The rest of the country hates me. I got to stay in New Orleans because I say it's because I don't like any place else, but really it's because no one likes me, anywhere else. Only this place appreciates me. But Jeremy, okay, back to what I was going to say. Now you freaked me out. Okay, Jeremy was telling us about the history of brewing in New Orleans, and it was just amazing the number of breweries here.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It was,
Oh, yeah.
It was basically the first breweries in America, and it was like the largest number per capita and all that stuff. And the bottom just sort of fell out, and
a lot of it had to do with both. I mean, prohibition
Yeah.
was a lot of it,
Slaughtered
and then as you got into the macro breweries, the
Yeah.
Budweisers, the Millers, of course, as they started to buy up the smaller guys, particularly post World War II,
Right.
you just had this
Pabst,
very
Stroh,
yeah.
all those guys. Yeah.
You just
Phil
all-
just got another drink. Oh, with a nice slice of bacon there, I see.
Yeah.
But
No
yeah.
beer in that.
pour a
drink.
little bit of that
For the
smoke
record.
into there. Smoke
Actually, you
there
know what?
and the
When we get the bourbon barrel, did we get that yet?
yeah, you've had
Oh,
two
there
of
you
them.
Oh, okay.
You've been drinking them.
They're great. Hey, give me that bacon, man. I want to see the bacon in. No, give me half the bacon. No, Phil's looking at me like, no, I don't want to give you any bacon. Let me get a piece off there. I'll break off the top.
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't break the piece that's been soaking in bourbon.
I just
think
offended
you
the
need
two
that.
brewers here.
No, I just never seen anybody drop bacon into an angel share, but that's
Well, I'll tell you how it tastes.
that's awesome.
Yes, this is an experience.
I am pro bacon and angel share.
No, I'll tell you what. I think it's great. All right, so where were we going with that again? I told you.
We're talking about
Something about Jeremy.
something about Jeremy and moving to
Oh,
Florida.
you were telling us
now.
about how
Beers,
Prohibition wrecked.
history,
Yeah, right.
and and you've seen it happen all over the country, and we're seeing it just
Right.
the beginning of that renaissance here
Right.
of local craft brewing just exploding,
Right.
and people want it. So New Orleans has been unique in that you've had Abita down here for so long,
Right.
and people are very loyal to Abita, and we're seeing all these other breweries just opening up, and it's going to explode.
Well, to me, I mean, I speculate because I have my friends from Portland who make fun of me all the time because our beer selection's so terrible
As
in New
they
Orleans
should.
compared to them. Yeah, right. I guess so. But I mean, they come to town and I take them to these great music venues, take them to great food venues. We're having fun. They're drinking lots of great cocktails, and their way of feeling justified is yeah, but that place didn't have XYZ beer or whatever that I can get anywhere in Portland. And I guess they're right, but I mean, my defense has always been, well, it's a wine town. And it's also a cocktail town.
It's a liquor town.
It's a liquor town. The American cocktail was invented in New Orleans. The first,
yeah.
It's a French word. Cocktail. It's a corruption of a French word. And America only has cocktails because of New Orleans. And there's only so much room for drinking, even in New Orleans.
But this was a beer town.
But it was a
before
beer
it was
town.
a
Is the
cocktail
thing.
town.
Yeah. So my
That's-
defense is pretty weak, actually. It was
as far as I'm concerned, but I have a vested interest.
Well, I just see in a city with such amazing restaurants, with such amazing cocktails, with such amazing palettes all the way around, you're seeing craft beer explode because
People want it.
people want it, and
It's
it's
a creative
just
place.
it's a creative, and craft beer is all about creativity. And the particularly American craft beer is all about pushing the bounds. When you look at British beer, Belgian beer, hello.
All right,
Well,
Phil,
no,
give a plug again for our pop-up.
This is NOLA Foodsmiths.
NOLA
Cameron and
Foodsmith.
Rebecca Lombardo.
I had the sliders earlier, and they were absolutely
I haven't tried the
delicious.
sliders, but those duck poppers wrapped
dude.
in bacon. Let's get back to the bacon conversation.
Put that in your
Those
beer.
things are oh
Bacon
my.
beer, bacon bourbon, bacon
bacon,
bacon poppers, bacon.
I have to note he totally just guzzled that angel share, and that's awesome. Like,
Ooh, pumpkin cheesecake. All right.
it's going great places.
Oh, that's not delicious at all. That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
That's so awesome.
I'm going in.
Yeah, so these guys come in tonight, and like I said, they've done their pop-up at Milkfish quite a bit. And it's the first time they're doing it here at Phil's Grill. And the duck poppers, it's all locally sourced products. Cleaver and Company bacon, Holly Grove Market salad.
Cleaver and Company is right around the corner from Brewstock.
Yes.
There you go.
By the way, you never told us where Brewstock is located. People have to visit
right
you.
around
They
the
can't
corner
just
from Cleaver and
abstractly
Company.
think about you. They have to visit you to
It's
order
about
business.
it's about 17 blocks from 1020 Arado Street.
How many blocks from Phil's Grill? 22.
22.
So we are
couple
we're at 3,800 Dryads, which
Nice.
the
Great spot.
The easy way to know where it is
Central
is
City,
The
isn't it?
not quite. No, it's the Milan neighborhood. Actually,
Well, all
The other
right.
side. Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
okay.
The original Martin's Wine Cellar.
I'm not so sure I believe that, though. If it's on the other side of St. Charles, I consider that Central
Yeah.
City, even if it's
Okay,
Different.
The original Martin's Wine Cellar.
Yeah, I love that
Gunshots
place.
sound the same?
They're-
The gunshots sound the same, right?
Okay, you guys aren't helping.
I got where that joke was going. I'm not even from here.
The original Martin's Wine Cellars
Gunshots.
one is the opposite corner from us.
That was
So
the first lunch I've had in New Orleans. Is that the Martin Wine Cellar hasn't reopened since the storm. Week
They
before Katrina.
will be opening. They told
They
me
keep saying
in
that
November.
forever.
No, it's been
No,
crazy
yeah.
construction out
Well,
there.
that'd be good synergy for you because people come and eat there, and then
Oh,
they're going to want to
absolutely.
walk over
Yeah.
and go, "Yeah, I always wanted to home
He
brew."
came in. Cedric Martin walked into my shop, and this was maybe 6 months ago, and said, "Oh, hi, I'm your neighbor." And I kind of looked at him and racked my brain, and I couldn't place him. I was like, "You do not live
Phil
in
and I
any
are
of these
sharing
houses."
bodily fluids right now. I mean, I'm eating his burger.
Ebola.
If Phil has Ebola, I just got it.
This is a barbecue pork belly.
Oh, geez.
That stuff
It's
is
all
so
good.
spicy and nice. It's just
So he walked into the shop, told me that he
So
was my
good.
neighbor, and I couldn't place him. And it took me a minute, and he said, "Oh, I'm Cedric Martin." And I said, "Oh,
nice.
my neighbor. You're Martin from Martin's Wine Cellar." He's like, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah, we're starting construction." So they've been working like crazy. They're supposed to be open November, December.
That would be so great. That was a
yeah.
really, that was a magical meal I had there. I've been longing for it for 9.5 years.
They're building a huge. It's going to be their whole warehouse, store,
great.
everything. It's massive. Yeah.
I mean, they
So-
got a great wine shop on Magazine Street, and I know they have another thing out in the burbs somewhere in Jefferson Parish, but really excited to hear that they come back to Dryads. And that whole area is just exploding. O.C. Haley's going nuts, and
Oh yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
It has to benefit you a little bit, huh? I mean,
Oh,
O.C. Haley stuff,
I've had neighbors come in and just say, "You don't understand the amount of traffic that's going to be coming through here when they open." So it's it's great for us, and
So you lease the
they
building?
send business our way already. So
You leased the building?
oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. It's a little corner store. It used to be a Waldorf drugstore.
Oh, wow.
And we still have the ironwork with the W in the door. It still says candy and cigars in the window, but we don't have candy or cigars. So I've thought about putting a little display out there.
So what kind of people do home brewing?
Everybody.
Do women do home brewing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What percentage of your
absolutely.
customers are women?
I would say maybe 10
Okay.
or 15%. It's the it's really everybody that cares about good beer, cares about drinking fresh beer. You can make beers just the way you want them, and if you're going out and buying $8-9 6-pack of whatever craft beer, you can make 2 cases of it for a steal. So you can,
What's the steal?
so you could make a standard homebrew batch.
Once you bought the equipment and you have the
Which-
equipment paid for, let's assume that's not a cost anymore. For the materials, what are you paying
I
for?
can give you like my baby IPA. It's like $19 for like 2.5 cases, and it's a super.
$19 for 2.5 cases, so cheaper than Bud Light,
Oh yeah, and it's excellent.
which sucks. Is like the most horrible beer. Well, no,
No, it is. It's
Go
the
for
most
it.
horrible
Go
beer
for
in the planet.
Wait, we're broadcasting
on the planet,
this.
whatever.
yeah, all right.
I'll say it.
But
sure
I
it's
mean, yeah,
wonderful.
if you're making it yourself, you can make it the way you want it. You can make craft quality beer, and you can make it for
Yeah.
19, 20. If you're making like the 12% alcohol beer, yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more.
45,
but relative,
50
if you
bucks.
bought 2 cases of Lost Abbey, you're spending
If you can find
150
it.
bucks.
So does that work
yeah.
on like the macro level then too? Like your brewery, like are you have a good profit margin on what you hope to be selling?
We have a great profit margin in the tap room. We have if we were allowed in the state to wholesale, which is why we're not starting that way,
Right.
we'd have a horrible profit margin.
Why?
It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, distributors take a lot of your percentage, but it's understandable because they're keeping your beer cold. They're distributing it to retailers. They have to suck up a lot of costs that you don't, and insurance and staff and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why when you see production breweries, they're massive, typically, and or they're in states where they allow self-distribution or other forms of getting your beer out.
So Louisiana is not great in the legal realm on that.
Again, we shouldn't get into this, but
Well, you're not
But
picking
no.
on any particular politician. You're just talking about the laws.
Well,
yeah.
no, it's not the politicians; it's the laws. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and
it's
when
a-
you look at, when you look at states like Michigan has something like 150 breweries.
yeah,
Louisiana as a state has
like 9 or 10 now.
13
11?
max, including you.
Oh,
13.
including-
wait,
oh yeah, we're
wait,
a brewery
time
now.
out.
I forgot.
I saw a thing on, it's on Facebook, so it must be true. I saw a thing in like a Yahoo News feed that said that Louisiana was the #1 consuming alcohol state.
No, it's
in
like
the country.
11th.
Really? Okay.
It's like
well,
11th or 12th or
This
something.
this one said it was first. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what the criteria is.
capita or
But we're
volume?
up there. We're
like that.
high.
Either way, volume or per capita, it's still like just outside of the top 10.
All right. But
But it's
whatever.
huge. But
Okay,
we're also
we'll leave that to the scholars.
40 something in production.
Right.
So we're missing out on all
Well, this
that
is what I'm
tax
asking,
revenue.
right.
And
So we only have 13. We have 13 breweries in the whole state,
Uh-huh.
and you're going to be the third one? No,
I think
second
we're
one in
gonna
the
be like,
city.
Yeah.
Second one in the city
Second
after
in the
NOLA
city.
Brew.
NOLA.
Okay, because Abita is
Yeah, they're
North
not
Shore.
the city, right?
Well, yeah, you got to go 30 miles across some giant river. I've done it like twice.
We're not having the what's local argument because that's another whole.
Well, yeah, don't
thing.
worry about that. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, there's 2 within the city,
Right.
and there's 13 within the whole state.
Something. Yeah, I mean, it might. Is
mean,
it even that much right now?
Yes, we've got. So we have
Oh,
a map
including the
stock.
brew pubs.
We have a map and
including
brew
the
stock
brew
of
pubs.
all of the operating breweries in the state.
Oh, so what
and
about
I think
like,
there are only 12, and I haven't put
what's that
Courtyard
place on
up yet.
Decatur?
Crescent City Brew House.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
brew
and,
their own beer,
and Gordon
right?
Biersch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yep.
a chain, but yeah, they
Same-
do it.
Yeah, but so right
Across
right.
the lake, you
So
got
it's really-
one or
so it's
two
technically
other
like
than
4.
Abita.
So
Old
there's
Rails
4
over
of
there,
those
they
in the
make good
city
beer.
out of
Within the
13.
city, Gordon Biersch, Crescent City Brew House, NOLA, Courtyard.
and Courtyard. Yeah.
That's pretty historic, man. Get excited. I'm
oh,
excited
no,
for you.
I'm stoked, but I'm also like
I can't believe we get to spend today with you too. Today's the day. Did you know
I
today
know.
was
Why
going
aren't
to
you
be the day?
brewing?
I thought it was going to be tomorrow.
You know it's going to be tomorrow.
I did,
Wow.
but I sat there and hounded them. They were like, "Oh well, the zoning guy's out until for lunch." I was like, well, "I don't care. I'm sitting here."
So I'm
That's what you
opening
gotta
the Tank 7.
That is what you have to do to
Let's-
open
we're-
any
we're-
business.
By the
in
way,
the
he's
city.
he's now unbottled number 3.
Tank
No,
7
number
from
2.
Boulevard.
Number 2 from the list. Yeah.
It's a wonderful
Try
beer.
this landslide.
Absolutely
Oh,
wonderful
dude.
beer.
That'll wash it
I didn't
down.
All right,
that.
there we
I
go.
ripped,
Once
so-
again,
Cleaver and Company Lamb Slider.
Cleaver and Company Lamb Slider.
Is that his?
Phil
Yeah,
and
this
I sharing some saliva here. Man, that's
I didn't
good.
drink out of it.
That's really good.
Isn't that good?
Oh,
That's really good.
Cleaver and Company's they good.
Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah. Now you have lamb burgers here, of course.
We don't. Like right now we're doing burgers
You have
of
like
the
11
week.
meats. How do you
I
not
know.
have lamb?
We've
That
had
should be
it
like
on
number
the menu.
4.
Yeah, we've had it on the menu.
Okay.
But it didn't stick on the menu. But we did.
You
do
have
it-
like elephant and
We
like
did
goat.
I've got a funny elephant burger story. I'll tell you once.
Elephant
Who has a
burger.
funny elephant burger?
I look.
story?
Actually, could you please tell that now? Because I might not hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to
All
hear
right,
it.
so right after LSU plays Alabama and loses in the national championship
Most boring game I've ever seen.
Yes.
Only
Actually,
LSU
let's not
I've
talk
seen.
about that.
Wait, I'm on.
Go LSU.
No, but my family, via Lindsay, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on Fox 8 cooking some burgers,
Nice.
and Chris Franklin, who went to South Alabama, and
Oh, yeah.
he's like, "Oh, so Phil, you ever think of doing I don't know, an elephant burger, Crimson Tide,
Yeah.
And I said, well, I thought about doing Teabag Tuesday, but it's kids' night.
Oh my god.
And Chris says, yeah, the producer just said that's the first time that's been said on live television, and don't say it again.
But they didn't catch it fast enough because they have like a 4-second delay, so they didn't know what was
no
going
idea I was going to do it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, you made history.
Yeah.
I'm going to
So,
name a beer Teabag Tuesday.
Teabag Tuesday, do
I
it.
think you
Yes.
should.
Yeah.
I think you should.
Especially if
So
we
no
can have it on
elephant
draft
burgers.
years.
But we did do lamb sliders last week for Detroit, for the Detroit game, because
We don't wanna
sliders
talk about
were
that.
invented in Detroit.
Sliders were invented in Detroit?
That's their story.
All right, no, I believe it.
And they don't have much of a food scene, so we got to give them
Look, we got to
something.
feel sorry for them lately. They're having a hard time.
Yeah.
They are. Detroit.
Yeah, the
Great city having a
economy.
hard time.
Yeah, Detroit is having a hard time. The
Hard time.
Lions actually are winning. So,
If they beat us, though, so.
yeah, well, whatever.
I saw the Anthony Bourdain special. It looks horrible.
Yeah,
It's a bad place.
yeah. It's a third world country.
Yeah.
Hey, at least we're bouncing back.
What?
At least we're bouncing back. My
We're
father
the fastest growing city in America, and you found that out dealing with the city in getting your brewery open, didn't you?
It was very.
How many
interesting.
times did you say that? We're the fastest growing city in America. Yes.
As
I know
a
you
joke?
did, 'cause- as you were ranting at a city employee, because I know I did it.
It's it's interesting because it wasn't the city employees. It's just the system.
It's the system.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
city employees are expletive deleted wonderful.
Yeah.
They are passionate and they care about what they're doing.
Well, my experience at City Hall has been dumbest people in the world, nicest people in the world, though.
No.
No?
No. City planning is filled with wonderful people who are very
Oh.
intelligent.
Okay.
And
You got your occupational license.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I could totally blow them up, but
I
that's
know
the
what
thing.
you're saying. I know what you're saying.
That's the
'cause I
thing.
dealt
Without
with
their
it.
help, we wouldn't be here. So
Okay, Kyle. So we need to get back to you. Typical home brewer. What
Right.
are they like? I mean, What's the range of
Your typical home brewer it's everybody. I mean, it's everybody from, we've got
Tulane professors to
professors, doctors, lawyers,
down
to everybody. I mean,
everybody.
it's.
Can I say something about
Scott.
that?
Yeah.
Because so you might have only seen me. Lindsay came in fairly often, and we brought our kid in somewhat.
How old's this kid now?
He's 2 now.
Okay.
So he's been here the whole entire process. But at home, like I'm usually the one buying supplies and stuff, but at home, Lindsay's just as involved as I am in tasting and in recipe development and in like crafting.
What'd you
what
name
we
this
wanna
kid,
do.
by the way? Did you name him like Budweiser? What'd you name him?
No, he's got a weird first name, but his middle name's Jules. Jules Wood is
What's his
What's
first
Jules
name?
for?
some strange. We don't have to get into all that.
No,
Wait,
wait,
that's
that's a
what
whole
we're calling
nother-
the
Yes, we
kid.
do.
We need to know.
Oh, okay. Well,
You say that.
his first name is Amiteus.
What?
It's a
Amiteus?
Amiteus.
I don't know. I think I know that name.
It's an old, very old, like Sanskrit old name. It means infinite light or infinite life,
Like
depending
in
on how
India?
you- Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I have a degree in Buddhism. That's weird. And but I also brew beer. So
What's your degree in?
That's weird.
Sanskrit?
Buddhism and Judaism.
All right.
So here's to that.
Your degrees in Buddhism,
Buddhism,
and
Judaism. They're exactly alike.
It's your mystery guest and you didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Kyle was right when he said that.
Kyle, you're
that-
not supposed to bring a more interesting guest than yourself. That's
Hey,
not,
you
your
know
plus
what?
one needs to be one notch below you. You know?
No, but it's to
No one
his
told you
point
this?
where he said that homebrewers are everybody, including weirdo Buddhists and.
Right.
Kyle.
Absolutely.
I brought Kurt
Buddhists aren't
Coco
supposed to
from
drink.
Nola Brewing
Don't do
as
that.
my
no,
plus one.
yeah, but I'm not Buddhist. So I just
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No.
You
yeah.
and Richard Gere are not supposed to drink.
He chooses not to.
Our religion is drinking. No.
But it's everybody. I mean,
It is. I mean,
it's an American tradition.
Yeah, we've got guys who work for energy. We've got, it's everybody. It's people who care about beer. They're interested in making the best beer they can, and
So, Kyle, let me ask you another question. Have you learned something from one of your customers? Have you been
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, been transformed by one of your customers? He came in and it was just like a guru. in
Oh,
home brewing
absolutely. And there's
changed your view of something about home brewing. Give us an example. Can you think of any?
So absolutely, there's actually a homebrewers club in New Orleans. It is more than 35 years old. It's 35 or 36 years old.
What?
They have over 100 members. And there are guys there who I email about, there's a guy there who, if you have a question about any traditional German beer or historical style, I had a guy who wanted to make a historical Polish smoked, light beer that was 2.5%. I emailed this guy, and he sent me back 3 pages on it. And there are guys who just they are experts in German
Are these guys
beers,
unemployed?
British
Or
beers.
they have-
Oh no, not at all, not at all.
No, a lot of them are in biotech.
They're hanging out at Comic Con.
I mean, they're just normal guys. This is just
Yeah,
this is their
rolling
passion.
Touche.
So I'll email them all the time. Hey, I'm looking at this. What did they do in London when they were making their porters with this
And these
strain?
guys know.
And these guys know.
How many people are in this club?
It's over 100 people.
What's it called?
It's called the Crescent City Homebrewers, and they meet the first Wednesday of every
Was that
month.
the original name?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. They meet the first.
Where they meet?
The first Wednesday of every month at Deutsches Haus.
Which isn't in the Crescent City, but will be returning
It will
soon.
be returning
Yeah.
soon. So
Okay.
it had to move because of the whole medical complex,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're building a really
Evil.
cool spot on
It is evil.
building a really cool spot over
Worst thing ever
on,
happened in New Orleans, but
Bayou
that-
St. John.
Yeah. This is my opinion. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean it kicked out the homebrewers, of course.
Or
it's
maybe
evil.
not.
Is that the one that killed Dixie? I'm just
Yes.
no. Okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's
So yeah, no, they're great guys, and they're very knowledgeable, and they're really. They get together. They have a 100-gallon system. They'll brew, and then they'll split it 20 ways. They'll do stuff like that. It's an
Wait. Slow down. So what's that mean? 100-gallon system?
They have a system that they can brew.
When they get together once a month, they brew something, and then they drink it the next time they get together.
They could do that. Yeah, there are guys who bring it in, but
Sounds
they
like a good club.
brew
I
it
love
all
that club.
together.
Can I just
Split
show up
the
and
batch.
drink?
Yes. Yes, because I have done that.
Yes.
All right. Grant is signaling us that we are done, and that kills me because I had 7 questions for you, and I did one of those questions.
Excellent.
Hopefully, I ruined everything.
And we also skipped
As
the
always.
entire feature of the off the menu and a whole bunch of other things, but I think the beer was a factor in that. Well, we're running out of time, so thank you so much for joining us.
This is a well-oiled
One more
machine.
question? Oh, Grant says I can give one more question.
I have to answer
it's a
another one?
well-oiled
Okay.
machine, Phil says. Phil's seen how we make the sausage here, and he's not impressed. He knows.
Wow.
But, Kyle,
We
seriously.
have one more beer to drink. Do we just want to do that instead?
No, pour that beer, and I'm going to ask you one more question.
Pour it into my mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, don't pour it all in his mouth,
No,
though.
yeah.
Leave a little bit for us. It is the IPA, though, so that's his favorite. Gosh, I don't know which one I want to ask you. I have 6 others. Okay. Do you find that most of your customers are like new beginners, or they using simple techniques, or do you find that a lot of your customers are, sort of growing in their knowledge of home brewing?
So we're getting new customers in every week. We sell a beginner equipment kit that's $65. It's all the equipment you need to make beer. We sell 4 or 5 of those every week. Then we have tons of customers. We have the guys who know everything about German and Polish and whatever, historical guys, and people that have just been doing it for a long time. So we have a mix of everybody. And we're just there to supply everybody with the best ingredients that we can and help people who are just getting started.
All right. Grant signaled me we're like 3 minutes over, so we got to end. But
Cool.
We're going to have you all back soon. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on Midnight Menu Plus One. We appreciate your coming out. I know your time's precious, especially, damn, man, your opening day, and you come out here to hang out with these jackasses. This is like amazing. He is in a neighborhood. And Kyle, my neighbor, I know you did this out of courtesy because, you got to face me all the time. But we didn't even talk about the story about
How we met.
Kyle and I
It's a
met.
great
We met
story.
over like a drunk driver slamming into my car. We slammed into his car. We slammed into another car.
Our parked cars.
Our parked cars.
They hit our parked cars.
Parked cars, and we sat out on the sidewalk for 3 hours waiting for police to come, and then they didn't give her a breathalyzer. That was a little interesting.
Yeah.
But we're working on that. Anyway, all right, Kyle. So thank you. And our special guest tonight at Midnight Menu Plus One was, as we said, Kyle DuPont, and his plus one was
Scott Wood.
Scott Wood. Can't read my handwriting. Scott Wood. You can
Courtyard
find out
Brewing.
more about Brewstock and about Courtyard Brew by following the links on our site. It's neworleans.com. Thank you tonight to petitepetcare.com for loving care when you're not there. Go to petitepetcare.com. And also tonight, our host, our very special host, Phil's Grill on Camp Street, 748 Phil's Camp Street. One of the city's top burger joints with the
Beers
largest
that he
menus. No, I just don't know how to talk. That's all.
We have done our job.
With other locations in Marrero and Metairie and Fat City.
Harahan and Metter.
Harahan and Metairie. Oh, there we go. Close enough.
Hey, whatever.
It's all a blur to me out there. All right. That's it for tonight's show. We'll see you next time at Midnight Menu Plus One. Until then, I'm Ray Kanata, and Margot Moss is glad that she was not here tonight. Good night. Midnight Menu Plus One is produced by Margot Moss, Grant Morris, and me, Ray Kanata. Our technical director is Chris Keogh.
You can find photos from tonight's show on our website, itsneworleans.com. On itsneworleans.com, you can also check out our blog and listen to lots more episodes of Midnight Menu Plus One and our other shows, including Out to Lunch, Happy Hour, and the Game and Mindset.
You can hook up with me and Margot anytime by following Midnight Menu Plus One on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also Google Midnight Menu Plus One. It'll come right up.
The fabulous audio quality of this show is brought to us by PreSonus Audio. For more information about PreSonus recording equipment, go to PreSonus.com.
Midnight Menu Plus One is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For all of us here at Midnight Menu Plus One, thanks for joining us. I'm Ray Kanata.
And I'm Margot Moss. Look forward to seeing you back here next week on Midnight Menu.
You know Labor Day signals the unofficial end of summer, but not the end of your outdoor projects. Lowe's helps you do it right and helps you save with Labor Day deals throughout the store. Shop now and get 2 bags of Stay Green potty mix for $12. And keep your lawn looking neat and trim with a Craftsman 2-cycle 17-inch gas string trimmer, now $20 off at just $119. Whatever's still on your to-do list this Labor Day, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 8/28. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.